let's dive into a simple but honestly a really powerful idea: the difference between what could happen and what is likely to happen. This one distinction, it's the key to understanding pretty much everything, from a simple coin toss all the way up to the shape of reality itself. It really all boils down to these two questions. First, what can happen? That's the wild, open world of pure possibility. And then second, what is likely to happen? And that's where probability comes in, giving that world its shape, its structure. You're going to see how these two simple questions unlock everything. And we're going to use a simple two-step framework for this whole journey. It's easy. Step 1, we'll map out everything that could possibly happen. We're just laying out the entire landscape. Then, step 2, we'll figure out which of those things are most likely, and that's what gives the landscape its peaks and valleys. So let's start by giving these ideas some proper names. Think of them as the two main tools we're going to be using to understand the world. Okay, so on one side, we've got what we'll call possibility waves. Just picture this as a wide, open ocean that contains every single potential outcome. And on the other side, we've got probability curves. This is the tool that gives that wave its shape, showing us where the crests are, the most likely outcomes, and where the troughs are. All right, I know that might sound a little bit abstract, so let's bring these ideas back down to earth and ground them in this simple world of chance, using some examples we can all wrap our heads around. Let's kick things off with a classic, a single die roll. So, step 1, what's the possibility wave? Well, it's pretty simple, right? You can roll a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. That's it. And just like that, we've mapped the entire space of what can happen.
Now for step 2. With a fair die, each of those 6 possibilities is equally likely. Every single one has a 1 in 6, or about a 16.7% chance of happening. So what's the result? Well, our probability curve is actually just a flat line. No single outcome is preferred over any other.
Let's make it even simpler. How about a coin toss? Again, step 1, map the possibility space. What can happen? Well, it can land on heads or it can land on tails. That's the entire possibility wave, just that simple choice. And the probability curve, just like with the die, it's perfectly balanced. There's a 50% chance of heads and a 50% chance of tails. It's this beautiful symmetry that is the very essence of a fair coin toss. The probability curve is perfectly flat. Okay, so dice and coins are great and all, but the real power of this model, of this way of thinking, is seeing how it applies to the messy, complex patterns of our actual lives. So let's take exam scores. What's the possibility wave here? It's huge. I mean, any score from a 0 all the way up to a perfect 100 is technically possible. The field is completely wide open. But, and this is the crucial point, not all of those possibilities are equally likely, are they? In reality, most student scores tend to cluster around an average, maybe a 60 or a 70. Very few students get a 0, and very few get a perfect 100. And this is what transforms our flat probability line into the famous bell curve, with a big peak right there in the middle. Or let's take another example, the stock market. On any given day, what could happen? The possibility wave includes pretty much everything from a huge drop to a huge jump, and a lot of smaller moves in between. All of those outcomes are on the table. So what does the probability curve look like? Again, it is not flat. Small movements, staying flat or just moving a little bit, are super common, and so they're highly probable. But those massive swings, like 200 points in either direction, yeah, they're possible, but they're very, very unlikely. So the curve is really high in the center and gets super low out at the edges. So now that we have this powerful little two-step tool, let's really put it to the test. Let's apply it to two of the most mind-bending and important fields that are shaping our future: quantum physics and artificial intelligence. Okay, so in the absolutely bizarre world of quantum mechanics, an electron doesn't just have a fixed position. Its possibility wave is enormous. It could literally be anywhere, spread out across space like some kind of ghostly cloud. The range of what can happen is almost infinite. So how on earth do you find it? This is where one of the core ideas of quantum physics comes in. Physicists figured out that to find the probability curve, to find where that electron is most likely to be, you just take the possibility wave and you square it. It's an incredible illustration of how probability carves out a likely spot from an entire ocean of possibility. Now let's switch gears and look at AI. When a model like ChatGPT is trying to predict the next word in a sentence,
Let's say after the words, the stock, it first generates a possibility wave. It just lists all the plausible words that could come next. Market, stock, price, fall, rise. You get the idea. And then it does something that's just amazing. Based on all the mountains of data it's been trained on, it creates a probability curve. It assigns a likelihood to each one of those possible words. It might calculate, say, a 40% chance the next word is market, a 30% chance it's stock, and so on. And then it just picks the most probable one. And that's how AI writes. So we've gone from dice rolls all the way to the subatomic world. What's the deeper meaning in all this? How does this simple framework actually change the way we see everything around us? Well, it all kind of comes down to this. Possibility is the vast open space, but probability is the density within that space. Possibility is the raw geometry of what could be, but probability is the weight we give to each part. You can think of it like this. Possibility shows you all the paths you could possibly take, while probability shows you the preferred paths, the ones that are most likely to actually happen. Ultimately, if you're going to remember just one thing, let it be this. Possibility waves map out the entire territory of what can happen. But probability curves, they're like the treasure map, pointing you to where the action is most likely to be. Which, of course, leaves us with one final, pretty fascinating question to chew on. If possibility is the blank canvas, and probability is the paint that creates the picture, what or who is the artist that decides how that paint gets applied?